And welcome back to another episode of MDafterDark. I am Andre Tainter. Unfortunately, Michael Herta is not here with me today, but I will be talking about what happened this past weekend in the All-Star break. I will be talking about the NBA standings and a bunch of college basketball. Might get more in depth than I have to, might not, but we will see. So first, I'm going to start talking about the All-Star break and what's going on there with the events and all that. So the first event that happened was actually the Rising Stars game. There was the G League team and three Rising Stars teams where they drafted, players from rookie classes and the sophomore class. But overall, that was my favorite part of the All-Star weekend. The Rising Stars team, Vince Carter drafted. They ended up being the winner, and the MVP of the whole tournament was VJ Edgecombe, which I could have told you that. But then the second thing that happened was the dunk contest, and that was boring. Actually, no, it was a three-point contest, but I'll go over the dunk contest first because it'll take me 2 seconds. Um, the contestants were Jackson Hayes, Jace Richardson, Keyshawn Johnson, and Carter Bryant. I personally think Carter Bryant's dunks were the best, but Keyshawn Johnson ended up winning the whole thing. So, ooh. And three-point contest winner was Damian Lillard. Connor Knipple came in second, and or third or something. And Devin Booker sold the bag. He had the whole game in his hand, and he ended up shooting like three straight misses at the end. But to get to the most disappointing of the All-Star break was the actual All-Star game or games. They had three different teams. They had the World team, the Stars team, and the Stripes team. They all played like 12-minute games, so like one quarter. And the first game that was played, the World team played the Stars team. The Stars team ended up winning that game 37-35. Anthony Edwards led the way for the Stars with 13 points and 2 assists, and Victor Wembanyama for the World had 14 points and 6 rebounds. He took this really seriously for some reason, but hey, I'm not going to judge. And then the second game, the Stripes defeated the Stars team 42-40. The Stripes were led by Jaylen Brown, who had 11 points and 3 rebounds, and Cade Cunningham had 11 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds for the Stars. And then the Stripes went 2-0. They defeated the World 48-45. Kawhi Leonard in 12 minutes had 31 points and 3 rebounds. In my personal opinion, people can disagree with me on this, but I'm going to be straight up. I think Kawhi Leonard is a top 10 player with no injuries. Put it on me. I just want to see. I want to see what people say about that. But Victor Wembanyama for the World team had 19 points and 2 rebounds. And then the Stars and Stripes played in the final game, and the Stars ended up destroying the Stripes 47-21. The Stars were led by Tyrese Maxey with 9 points and 2 rebounds, and Donovan Mitchell for the Stripes had 6 points. So overall, a really boring All-Star break, but I'm not going to get too much into that because uh, there's no point. But there is one question. So me and Michael had a discussion about this, and we were talking about how we missed the East versus West. You don't even draft or anything. You get your poll, and your poll, the top five, or you get like positions and stuff. But then we were talking about how we miss like watching Vince Carter and like Derrick Rose and all of them playing in their own uniforms in the All Star game, and we really think that that's how it should go back to. But we don't run nothing. So that's just our opinion. Let me know if you guys have any different opinions on that. But now we're on to the NBA standings. So the NBA starts up tomorrow again. So in the Eastern Conference, the standings are number one, the Pistons at 40-13, Celtics at two at 35-19, the Knicks at three, 35-20, Cavs at four, 34-21, Raptors at five, 32-23, and at the final actual playoff spot, the 76ers are 30-24. And then the play-in tournament, you have the Heat or the Magic at seven, 28-25, the Heat at eight at 29-27, the Hornets at nine. Go watch my video about them at 26-29, and the Hawks at 10 at 26-30. The Bulls are in 11th, so the first actually eliminated spot at 24-31. The Bucks at 23-30. the Nets at 15 and 38, the Pacers at 15 and 40, and the Wizards at 14 and 39. So the Bulls through the Wizards are all eliminated at this point. So for the Eastern Conference, that's it. And in the Western Conference, you have Thunder at 42 and 14 in first place, the Spurs in second place at 38 and 16, the Nuggets at 35 and 20 in third place, the Rockets at 33 and 20 in fourth place. So as you can see, a team that's played less games but the same amount of losses and not the same amount of wins, they get booted down. And then the Lakers, who have one more loss than the Rockets, are at 5 at 33 and 21. Suns in 6 at 32, or no, sorry. The Timberwolves at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at 34 and 22. Sorry, I can't count or read. And then the first play-in team would be the Suns at 32 and 23, the Warriors at 29 and 26, the Trailblazers at 27 and 29, and the final play-in spot at 10, Clippers at 29 and 28. So the teams that are eliminated at this point are the Grizzlies at 20 and 33, Mavericks at 19 and 35, the Jazz at 19 and 38, Pelicans at 15 and 41, and the Kings at 12 and 44. So just to re-say that, the Thunder are in first, Spurs are in second, Nuggets are in third, Rockets are in fourth, Lakers are in fifth, Timberwolves are in sixth. Those are the 6 teams that are confirmed to have a playoff spot at this moment. And then 7 is the Suns in the play-in, 8 in the play-in is the Warriors, 9 in the play-in is the Trailblazers, and 10 in the play-in is the Clippers, and then the Grizzlies, Mavericks, Jazz, Pelicans, Kings are all eliminated. So we'll see how that changes, but I literally don't think any of the 5 teams in the Western Conference that are eliminated at this point, nothing will change. What was that? But either way, the 3 longest losing streaks at this point, the Kings are on a 14-game losing streak, the Mavericks are on a 9-game losing streak, and my Chicago Bulls are on a 6-game losing streak, which I'm not too mad about. They're only 2 games on the play-in, but I really don't want them to. Unless they make the play-in and make the playoffs, I don't want them to make the play-in. But overall, I don't really see much changing here. I think the Pistons stay in first in the East at 40 and 13, but I think the Knicks, Cavs, and Celtics fight it out for 2, 3, 4. I could see the Knicks getting up to 2. I could see the Cavs getting up to 2. Celtics falling all the way down to 5, maybe, where the Raptors are, if the Raptors keep playing as well as they have been. But then like I said, for the Western Conference, I could see the Nuggets going on a run, especially since Jokic is going to be fully healthy. I could see the Thunder with their injuries falling all the way to 2 or 3. The Rockets, I don't know about the Rockets. I said they're going to be really disappointing this year, and they still kind of are, especially after what happened with KD. I don't think his teammates are going to like him too much after that. But yeah. But now we have a gauntlet. We are going to be talking about February 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. Of college basketball. So, we got a lot of games to talk about. I have separated them by days. A lot of these teams have played 2 games of these days. I don't even want to count how many games we have to go through here. But for now, let's get into it. So on February 14th, Texas Tech beat number 1 at the time, ranked Arizona, and they were undefeated. No, they weren't, because they lost to Kansas. Texas Tech was led by JT Toppin with 31 points, 13 rebounds, and Arizona was led by Toby Awaka with 16 points and 12 rebounds. A game that didn't really mean much. Michigan defeated UCLA 86-56. Trent Perry led the way for UCLA, and Michigan was led by Yaxel Lendeborg with 17 points and I think 9 rebounds. I still haven't corrected this. I'm going to put it now. I just put 89 twice on accident. And then on this day, so Kansas State on the 14th lost to Houston 78-64. Kansas State was led by Nate Johnson, remember that name, and Houston was led by Emmanuel Sharp with 23. Kansas State did, in fact, fire their head coach on this day, and now he's suing them. A lot of people are saying it was a bad fire, but, he has gone from Elite 8 to, I think, Sweet 16 to round of 32, and this year not even making it to the tournament, or even worse than that. But, yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with that. You've spent a lot of money bringing in players, and it's just not working for you. Duke defeated Clemson 67-54. Duke was led by Cam Boozer with 18 points and 8 rebounds. Clemson was led by Carter Welling with 12 points. Um, this next game are two teams I'm not very fond of. Iowa State, we'll talk about them even more later, was led by or defeated Kansas 74-56. Iowa State was led by Milan Momcilovic, the Wisconsin native, with 18 points, and Kansas was led by Melvin Council with 15 points, the St. Bonaventure transfer. But yeah, that was a good game. Other than the fact that Iowa State just swamped them, but two good teams going at it, but good teams. But our next game was much closer. UConn defeated Georgetown 79-75. Silas Demery was 1 assist away from a triple-double with 15 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. And KJ Lewis of Georgetown with 24 points and 9 rebounds. This game really sucked. Nebraska beat Northwestern 68-49. Price Sanford has solidified himself as one of the best juniors in the country with 29 points. And Angelo Chiravino, for some reason, it has him as their top performer. I could see why. He definitely played better than Martinelli with better efficiency, but he had 9 points. I think Martinelli had 11 or 13. But the next game, North Carolina defeated Pitt 79-65. Jared Stevenson of North Carolina had 19 points, and Cameron Corrin of Pitt had 23 points. Keep North Carolina in mind as well. And then our next game, the Gonzaga defeated Santa Clara 94-86. Graham Ike, one of the best players in the country, had 21 points and 15 rebounds, and Santa Clara's Christian Hammond had 16 points. Me and Mike were talking about this, the conference realignment after this year. Gonzaga will be moving to the Pac-12. That's what it is, because they're taking some teams from the Mountain West and the Western Coastal Conference and all that. So that'll be fun. But Michael said that Gonzaga, like Santa Clara, and St. Mary's, they won't play anymore, at least non-conference. It'll have to be. But that's kind of the downside to all these conference realignments. Like, you don't get to see UCLA and Washington State play 2 times a year anymore. I hate how UCLA, Oregon, and them are in the Big Ten. There's no need for it. It's all just money. But then speaking of the Big Ten, Purdue swamped Iowa 78-57. Braden Smith had 12 assists and Bennett Sturts had 19 points. Again, keep Iowa in mind. Kentucky lost to Florida 92-83. Florida was led by Xavier Lee with 22 points, and Kentucky was led by Colin Chandler, a sophomore, with 18. I'm not very familiar with him, so. And then our next game, another Big Ten team, but not a Big Ten win. Virginia will beat Ohio State 70-66. Again, keep Ohio State in mind. There's a lot of these teams that you're going to hear twice, and they're going to go from losing to a team that's very questionable to winning against a good team. Virginia was led by Ugana Onyenso with 10 rebounds, and Ohio State was led by Bruce Thornton with 28 points. And then this was a battle. St. John's defeated Providence 79-69. The fight that happened was really crazy. You had Duncan Powell getting suspended 3 games. But for St. John's, Dylan Darling had 23 points, 8 rebounds, and Providence was led by Ryan Mella with 14 points and 9 rebounds. And then a SEC game here, Vanderbilt defeated Texas A&M 82-69. Vanderbilt was led by A.K. Okereke. That's a name I haven't heard. And out of all the players on Vanderbilt that could have led the team in scoring this game, I did not think it was going to be him. And Texas A&M was led by Marcus Hill with 20 points. Another SEC game, you have Arkansas at 88 and Auburn at 75. Darius Acuff is going to be a top 8 pick easily with 31 points, and Auburn is led by Tahad Pettiford with 29. Auburn has all the talent that they need. They just can't put it together for more than 4 games in a row. I mean, they're 14-11 right now after that loss. And I guess I'm pretty sure they played today, or maybe they played yesterday. I'll see. But we'll see how they do in the tournament. And then this is a Big 12 game. I got the Big 12 and the Big East confused, and I looked like an idiot. But BYU defeated Colorado 90-86 in overtime. BYU is led by Robert Wright III with 39 points, and Colorado is led by Barrington Hargress with 20 points. But unfortunately, Richie Saunders tore his ACL this game. That is a huge loss. And me and Michael also talked about how it was going to be a big question mark about how BYU is going to play after this year. Because if Robert Wright, AJ DeBonsta, and Richie Saunders go to the NBA, along with maybe Keba Keita, do you think that they'll be able to bring in that many transfers? And Michael mentioned how if they could get another AJ DeBonsta, aka a top recruit, he says that their coach is very like he knows what he's doing, obviously, and he thinks that they'll be back next year. I think they'll be a little bit off because right now they're ranked like 23rd or something like that. But I don't know. I could see them making a run again next year, but let's see what they do this year without Richie Saunders. Louisville defeated Baylor in a Big 12 game. No, is that right? I don't know. I get so confused sometimes. And Michael Brown had 29 points. I'll just make it known now. He had back-to-back 29 games. And Baylor was led by Isaac Williams with 20 points. I know this is Big 12. TCU defeated Oklahoma State 95-92. Jaden Pierre had 18 points for TCU, and Oklahoma State was led by Parsa Fala with 27 points, a name I am not super familiar with. And I'm just going to skim over a couple of these games. There's four here that aren't super important. Georgia Tech lost to Notre Dame 89-74. Cole Sherpa of Notre Dame, a sophomore, had 37 points. And Georgia Tech was led by Baye Ndongo with 14 points and 12 rebounds. The University of California defeated Boston College 86-75. Chris Bell, a senior for Cal, had 22 points, and Boston College was led by Luca Taze with 12 points. Seton Hall defeated Butler 63-56. AJ Stanton McCray had, or McCory, or however you say his name, had, I think it was 21 points. Why is there no stat here? And then Butler was led by Michael Ajayi, who had 21 points, 12 rebounds. He is a double-double demon, I can tell you that. And the final game, I'm just going to skim over here. Seattle defeated Oregon State 60-50. Seattle was led by Will Imbrot with 15 points, 9 rebounds, and Oregon State had Jorge Diaz-Graham with 21 points. So now a couple, memorable games. Syracuse defeated SMU 79-78. Donnie Freeman, the sophomore for Syracuse, had 18 points, and Corey Washington for SMU had 13 points and 9 rebounds. That's a huge win for Syracuse. And then Florida State decided to just dominate Virginia Tech 92-69. Martin Somerville of Florida State had 23 points, and Virginia Tech was led by Ben Hammond with 16. My backup team, since Northwestern sucks, Villanova defeated Creighton 80-69. Duke Brennan, another double-double demon. It seems like the Big 12, or no, that's the Big East, sorry, just has unlimited guys that have hustle. Duke Brennan had 21 points, 12 rebounds, and Creighton, with Nick Graves, the Charlotte transfer, had 15 points. And then there's a couple mid games here I'm just going to mention real quick. Oregon defeated Penn State 83-72. Nate Biddle with 22 points for Oregon, and Penn State was led by Caden Mingo. Grand Canyon defeated San Jose State 94-79. Grand Canyon was led by Jaden Henley with 24 points, and San Jose State was led by Colby Garland with 23. Fresno State destroyed Air Force 93-63. Fresno State was led by Wilson Jaquez with 18 points and 9 rebounds, and the freshman for Air Force, Lucas Hoban, had 26 points. And West Virginia defeated a kind of strong UCF team. They've kind of fallen off. 74-67. Jasper Floyd of West Virginia had 15, and Themis Fulks for UCF had 19. So now I'm going to, mention some actually important games. Xavier defeated Marquette 96-88. Philip Boran Vikanen, sorry, I almost said Viacon, had 15 points and 11 rebounds. And then Marquette freshman, I'm pretty sure, Nigel James had 30 points and 12 rebounds. Crazy. Oklahoma picks up a huge win over Georgia, 94-78. Nigel Pack, the sixth-year senior, I swear, Miami transfer, had 18 points, and Blue Cane for Georgia had 20. Wake Forest beat Stanford 68-63. Juke Harris of Wake Forest had 25, and the freshman phenom Ibuka Okori. I need to make a video about him. He is a dog. He had 26 points. And then the final game on this page, Miami, Florida defeated NC State 77-76. Malik Renault from Miami had 26 points, and NC State was led by Van Allen Lubin, who had 17 points. So I'm going to move on. And LSU lost to Tennessee 73-63. Freshman Nate Ament, who is going to be a top 10 pick as well, had 23 points and 9 rebounds. And Markel Sutton for LSU had 15 points and 9 rebounds. Mississippi State picked up a big win over Ole Miss, 90-78. If you wanted shooting, well, they definitely had shooting because Josh Hubbard and Malik Dia both had 32 points to lead their respective teams. An American game, Wichita State defeated Tulsa at home. Kenyon Giles scored 31 points, and former UW Whitewater basketball player, Michael made sure to make it known, Miles Barnstable had 19 points, so Wichita State gets the 4-point win, 81-77. Utah State, the runner-up in the now they are going to be number one in the Mountain West. They picked up a win over an American, middle, almost bottom feeder, Memphis. I love Memphis too, 99-75. Utah State was led by MJ Mullins with 24 points, and Memphis was led by Sincere Parker with 21 points and 10 rebounds. He scored 41, and now he's putting up like 28 game, I swear. It was like 44 points or something. And then Alabama, this is the game that ended up getting them ranked, defeated South Carolina 89-75. Den Holloway for Alabama had 20 points, and Kobe Knox had 20 for South Carolina. Another SEC game, Texas defeated Mizzou 85-68. Dalen Swain for Texas had 20 points, and Missouri's senior Jaden Stone had 26. Not a very important game here, but Washington defeated Minnesota 69-57. Hayden Steinbach, another lottery pick, had 26 points, 9 rebounds, and Minnesota was led by Cade Tyson with 22 points and 9 rebounds. And the final two games, San Diego State defeated Nevada 71-57. Magoon Guaf led the way for San Diego State with 13 points and 5 blocks. Go watch my video about San Diego State if you want. And Elijah Price led the way for Nevada, however you say it, 17 points and 10 rebounds. And then the final game on Valentine's Day, St. Mary's defeated Pacific 72-61. Paulius Moraskis? Some of these names are just crazy to me. Paulius Moraskis had 32 points and 15 rebounds. I was going to, for my player of the day for Valentine's Day, it's got to go to Paulius. I mean, sure, Robert Wright had 39 points against a better team, but 32 and 15, Paulius Moraskis is my player of the day. And for Pacific, Elias Ralph had 17 points and 12 rebounds. So that's all for February 14th. Now we're on to a little bit of a shorter slate in February 15th. We start off the day with a Illinois-Indiana game. Illinois got the win 71-51 over Indiana. Obviously, I just said that. David Mrakovic had 25 points, and Indiana was led by Lamar Wilkerson, who scored literally his season average at 21 points. The next game, Cincinnati defeated Utah in a nail-biter. Babacar Miller actually went crazy in the end. He had like 2 putback layups and then 2 free throws to seal it. But Mustafa Tiam with 15 points and 10 rebounds got all the glory, I guess, on ESPN. And Utah was led by Keanu Dawes with 16 points and 14 rebounds. A team I am very fond of, Rutgers defeated Maryland 68-57. Tariq Francis with 21 points, he is a dog, and Solomon Washington for Maryland had 11. But Michael's favorite to win the American, sorry, I kind of had a brain fart. South Florida defeated FAU 83-81. Wes Ennis had 27 points for South Florida, and FAU is led by Devin Williams, not the baseball player, with 15 points. Another American game, Tulane defeated UAB 55-54. UAB had a chance to win it the ball got swatted away, and he tried to pick it up and like dropped it again, and then they couldn't get a shot off, and Tulane ended up winning. But a guy that you need to know is Rowan Brumbaugh. He can score at all three levels. It's crazy. I mean, there's just so many mid-major players that if they're not seniors, they're transferring to a Power Four conference immediately next year. And then he had 17, and Evan Chapman had 12 points and 13 rebounds. All 12 of his points were off of threes. So you'd think, okay, he had 13 rebounds. He's probably a big. Yeah, he is. And all of his points were off of threes. And then our final three games for February 15th, Dayton defeated Davidson 70-59. Dayton was led by Jayon Simon, 11 points and 13 rebounds. And Davidson was led by Parker Fredrickson with 21 points. And I'm also going to make it known that, let me go back. I think it was on Saturday. I'm going to just scroll here for a second, see if I can find it. Hang on. Hang on again. Okay, how long do I have to scroll for? Where it at? Are you kidding me? Did I go to the wrong page? Well, I'm just gonna mention it now. Um, uh, University of Texas San Antonio. That's their name. They went into Charlotte and they got a super big upset win. They have like 4 wins. I saw it on TikTok, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep trying to look for it. But see, if I had Michael with me, he could move on to the next. Oh, here it is. On Sunday, UTSA got a win over Charlotte, 88-79. They were down 6 points at half, and they dropped 50 points in the second half. A huge, not even a huge win because they're 5-20, but still a huge win for their momentum going into the late half of the season. See if they can build up a couple of good wins as well. But then the final two games on the 15th, so that was also on the 15th. Seton Hall defeated Butler. Wait. Okay. The Seton Hall Butler game and Oregon State Seattle game were both on Sunday, not Saturday. I copied and pasted them, and I didn't subtract the ones from. So yeah, I probably shouldn't have gotten rid of them. So here, I got it. Let me just. Oh, go back. There we go. Okay, now we're on to February 16th. A whole 2 important games happened this day. But I told you to remember Iowa State because Iowa State defeated Houston 70-67. Josh Jefferson had 12 points and 6 rebounds for Iowa State, and Kingston Flemings with 22 led the way for Houston. Kingston Flemings is also going to be a lottery pick. He is amazing as a freshman. And you know how I said that Syracuse got that big win over, where was it? Come on, Andre. Over SMU? Yeah. They lost to Duke 101-64 on Monday, February 16th. Cam Boozer had 22 points and 12 rebounds, and Will Kyle III had 12 points for Syracuse. So now we are on to our final slate, which is Tuesday, February 17th. These games probably are more important than some of the other ones. There were a lot of upsets last night, and I loved watching them. So our first game was Michigan over Purdue, 91-80. Purdue can't get a ranked win, I swear. And Michigan was led by Elliot Cadeau with 17 points and 7 assists, but Purdue got a great stat line out of Trey Kaufman-Renn with 27 points and 12 rebounds. I really hate how Northwestern blew the lead against Nebraska and Michigan. But then I also told you guys to keep Iowa in your brain if you're still watching. Iowa defeated Nebraska, number 7 Nebraska, or number 9, 57-52. Nebraska was led by Jamarcus Lawrence with 11 points, and Iowa was led by their standout Drake transfer, Bennett Sturts, with 25 points. I mean, I mentioned how Iowa didn't beat Purdue, And then they go out and they beat Nebraska. Huge win at home for Iowa. And then Florida defeated South Carolina 76-62. Ruben Chinyello had 15 points and 17 rebounds for Florida, and Michi Johnson led the way for South Carolina with 22 points. Whew, and here is another upset. Arizona State defeated Texas Tech 72-67 at home. Mo Odom for Arizona State had 23 points, and Texas Tech was led by JT Toppin, obviously, with 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 blocks. I saw this thing about how Texas Tech couldn't beat, or they beat Arizona, but they couldn't go to Arizona State and win. I mean, you're in the same place, basically. It's a worse team. I just don't get it. A Big Ten game here. Michigan State gets back on track with an 82-59 win over UCLA. Tyler Bilodeau had 22 points for UCLA, and Michigan State was led by Jeremy Fears with a double-double, 16 points, 10 assists. Holy. And then another rivalry win, kind of an upset, but NC State defeated North Carolina 82-58. Kadir Copeland had 20 points and 7 assists. I did not realize that he was from McNeese. That's crazy. And then Jared Stevenson had 13 points and 9 rebounds for the Tar Heels. This is actually probably the biggest upset. Rhode Island defeated St. Louis 81-76. Jonah Hinton for Rhode Island had 29 points and 8 threes, which tied the Rhode Island school record. And Dion Brown had 19 points for St. Louis. So for Rhode Island, that's a huge win, but for St. Louis, that's even bigger loss. You get a bad quad 3 loss. That's not going to handle your seeding very well in a couple of weeks when it's March. But Louisville lost to SMU 95-85. Boopie Miller for SMU had 23 points and 9 assists, and I already mentioned Michael Brown had another 29-point game back-to-back. But I really like Michael Brown. I like Boopie Miller too. It makes me sad that all these seniors that probably aren't going to get drafted are either going to have to they have to go get real jobs and not be athletes. But everybody knows what I mean. Like they're going to college for a reason as well. But hopefully, if they don't go to the NBA, they can get into the G League or find a league overseas. There are plenty of leagues overseas. But then Miami of Ohio keeps their undefeated streak alive with an 86-77 win over UMass. I still don't think Miami of Ohio is all that, to be honest. They really haven't played anybody. And they are like, oh, it's because nobody schedules them. Because what does a Power 4 team gain from scheduling Miami of Ohio? Like, what is Northwestern? Like, okay, Northwestern's really bad. What do they get out of playing a Miami of Ohio team? If they get beat on their own floor, it's super embarrassing. But if they go to Miami of Ohio and win, what is that even? Like me and Michael had a discussion. I said that TCU is a better team than Miami of Ohio. I guarantee you, if TCU paid Miami of Ohio to go to TCU, they would win by 30. They almost beat Kansas, and Kansas beat Arizona. You cannot tell me that Miami of Ohio has the same firepower as TCU. Oh, I just don't know. I mean, they're undefeated. They're undefeated. That's all I have to say. Ohio State defeated number 24 ranked Wisconsin. Boo, Wisconsin. Never rank them again. They can't win while they're ranked. Ohio State won 86-69. Bruce Thornton had 29 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. And Wisconsin was led by Minnesota transfer Braden Carrington. Our next game, Florida State defeated Boston College 80-72. Florida State was led by Robert McCray with 27 points and 6 rebounds, and Fred Payne led the way for Boston College with 22. Villanova defeated Xavier 92-89. Caden Lewis had 21 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists as a freshman, and Trey Carroll, the Big East leading scorer, had 28 points and 10 rebounds. And I say, oh, TCU is so much better. And then they go and lose to UCF 82-71. Jordan Burks for UCF had 23 points, 7 assists. And Micah Robinson for TCU had 20 points and 9 rebounds. We are down to our last couple of games here. Virginia Tech lost to Miami 67-66. Trey Donaldson of Miami had almost half of their points with 32. And Jalen Bedford for Virginia Tech had 12 points and 6 rebounds. I liked Trey Donaldson at Michigan, but obviously that didn't work out, and he probably is sad that he left because look at how good they are now. But Miami has turned it around. They went from really bad to really good. And Kansas State, in their first game without their head coach, won 90-74 over Baylor. Nate Johnson had 33 points, 9 assists, and 6 steals. What a game for the guy. And Baylor was led again by Isaac Williams with 16 points and 6 rebounds. Both of these guys led their teams in points back-to-back games that I mentioned. Air Force is just horrible. New Mexico beat them 98-61. New Mexico was led by Dayton Albury with 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. And Cam Sanders for Air Force had 13. Air Force is just horrible. But Georgia bounces back, getting a ranked – nope, Kentucky wasn't ranked at this point. Getting a win over Kentucky, 86-78. Blue Kane, back-to-back team leading scorers for the game, or for the guy, had 20 points. And then Kentucky had Otega Owe with 28 points. He's going to be so good in the NBA. He can score at will. He can score at all 3 levels. If his three-point shot could get a little bit better, I could easily see him being a first-round, early second-round pick. Texas gets the win over LSU, 88-85. Dalen Swain had 21 points and 10 rebounds for the Longhorns, and LSU was led by Max McKinnon with 27 points. We're down to our last 3. I'm going to do these other 2 games first. Actually, I'm going to mention this one first. This one's probably one of the worst games played in all of these. Minnesota defeated Oregon 61-44. Grayson Grove, Minnesota, led the way for them with 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 steals. And Oregon was led by Nate Biddle with 15 points and 7 rebounds. But then a huge win for San Jose State with an 87-71 win over Nevada. Corey Garland with 29 points, 9 assists, and 3 steals. And Corey Camper for Nevada with 18 points and 3 steals. But then the final game I'm going to talk about, Grand Canyon getting the road win over San Diego State, 73-63. Jaden Henley with 21 points and 3 steals for Grand Canyon. They just have, and he's a dog. And his favorite artist before, I had a picture, his favorite musical artist to listen to before a game is Yeet. Bro's the GOAT. He knows ball. And San Diego State was led by Miles Bird, who I'm telling you, your favorite team will be lucky to have this guy. I really hope the Bulls can somehow get him, or if he comes back to San Diego State for his senior year, who knows? But Miles Bird had 18 points and 4 steals. So, yeah, I mean, my player for all of these games is easily Paulius Makauskas. Let me go back down to him. Where's he at? Yeah, Paulius Makauskas, 32 points, 15 rebounds. But yeah, that's all I have. The Olympics are going on. Spring training baseball's right around the corner. The NBA returns tomorrow. There will be a lot more to talk about as long as I stay caught up. So hopefully next time Michael can get on with me. And yeah, I will see you all next time.